a little less than a month ago, I had the opportunity to speak with a psychic. It was actually on February 22nd, 2022. I'm part of a book club, and in the book club, we go over a spiritual book we're reading together. And our host decided to invite a special guest, and it was a psychic. Now, we knew the psychic was coming, and she told us like a month or so ahead of time, and to bring any questions that we would like to ask. So we were supposed to have the meeting like a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks before time. Well, we had a meeting set, and then it was canceled and rescheduled for a little bit later. Now, for the first meeting, I had a question that I wanted to ask. However, by the time the second meeting came around, or the second due date or whatever came around, that had answered itself. So I was like, okay, I don't want to ask that no more. So I came up with a different question to ask. I had a spiritual experience back in my college days when I was in college, and it's something that I don't really talk about with a lot of people. Just coming from a very Christian background, everything and anything is a devil. Everything and anything is demons, is possession, is evil. So I wasn't comfortable talking to people about the experience that I had. It was just something that I just kind of knew happened, and it was just kind of there, but I was embarrassed or ashamed of telling people about it, because like I said, it's a vulnerable place for me, So I figured, here's a psychic, why not ask, her perspective of it? Like, what does she, think of it? Especially after she told us like how she got started and different things of that nature and her journey. I felt a little bit more comfortable opening up, because hers started in the church and mine started in the church. So I was like, okay, boom, that's a connection right there. So after she gets done telling us about herself, she goes and we go right into the questions. So I asked my question, and I explained the spiritual experience that I went through. So I guess I will explain that now. This is something, again, that I'm not a big fan of talking about. It's something that, it's so sad, because it really shouldn't be something that I'm ashamed of, but I do feel shame about it, or just like, oh my God, like I'm going to be burned at the stake or something like that. But so I was in college, and I was going to a Bible study. This day I invited my girlfriend to go with me, and we sat down before class started while everyone was coming in, and I just flipped open my Bible, and I remember reading, Jesus said, hey baby. I remember reading, Jesus said, and it said the words. I don't even remember what the words were, but it was something that just kind of clicked in my head. I said, oh my goodness, these are the words that Jesus said. And it just like went straight to my heart, and I could just feel myself I just felt like it was just overwhelming. And I remember it was so much so that I was like trying to put my head down, like to stop from crying. It was just so, I don't know. I just thought it was so beautiful to read those words. So shortly after that, they say, let's get in a circle, and we're going to pray before we start Bible study. So I go in a circle. My girlfriend's on this side, and then another girl was on this side. And we start praying. Now, my mind is still in that space of, oh my goodness, I just read these beautiful words. I just read what Jesus said. And before I know the prayer's over, we go sit back down. Nothing. And one of the Bible study teachers comes up to me. She pats me on the shoulder and says, I need you to come back here with me for a second. So I go back to the corner, and I see a girl, the girl whose hand I was holding on this side, and she was back there. She was crying. And the lady had said to her, no, tell her what you told me. And she was just, okay, there we go. She was just crying and looking at her hands and shaking. And then she goes, your hands, I felt something coming from your hands. And I was just like, like, what can you say about that? So I said, okay. Okay, thank you. And I went and I sat back down. Now, the second occasion was I had went to another, it wasn't a Bible study, I went to church, was visiting this church one of my girlfriends had invited me and my other girlfriend to. So we had, Rock, look, there's a dog outside. So another one of my girlfriends had invited us to a church. So the pastor was like, okay, we're 2 or more gathered in my name, so shall I be present. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into groups. I think he said 2 or 3 or 3 or 4, something like that. And we're just going to say Jesus over and over again. So I went into that same space of like, oh, this is so beautiful. And, you know, I was holding a kid's hand on this side, and I was holding a woman's hand on this side. And, you know, we did it for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes or something like that. And afterwards, the lady whose hand I was holding on this side just started crying and shaking and holding me. And I could tell that whatever happened with the first girl had happened again with her. And it was cool because my girlfriend that was at the first time it happened, she was there at the second one. Because I promise you, if she wasn't there, I would have totally disassociated with that. I said that didn't happen that way. And I just would have let it go. I'm like, oh, well, you know, that's not what happened. But because she was there and because we sat down and we talked about it and different things like that, not too long, just really briefly, because for me, like I said, it was something I was more ashamed about, you know, because at that point I was all gung-ho Christian Bible thumping Brittany, you know. So it's like anything like that, I was just like, you know, no, I wasn't into spirituality or anything like that. You know, I would have said that, devil, demon, what are you doing? You know, you're going to see a psychic. Oh, no. But so when those situations happened, it was more confusing for me. And I just kind of pushed it down. But I understood that it did happen. So when I got the opportunity to talk to a psychic, I asked her, I told her that situation just like that. And she had told me that we're going to be vulnerable. She said that you resonate and carry the vibration of Jesus Christ himself. Look, I had to look the other way when I even said it. And she was saying that the love that you hold in your heart makes room for him. And that's what that is, you know. And she started talking about future events and different things like that would coincide with that. So I just, for me, that was a huge thing, because I grew up in a household where my family, that's probably where I got all this evil stuff and demon stuff from. I grew up in a household where my family, you're not too hot, are you? My family constantly told me I was evil, I was this, I was that. So, and they just like put me down, and I felt like it was important to make myself very, very small around them. And it's not their fault, you know. I firmly believe that we choose the families that we have before we get here. We choose the life that we have, you know. But it was a comforting remark that was made, you know, her saying that was comforting, because it's like, well, damn, you know, all these years, you know, I was put down, you know, I was made to feel like I was less than. So I'm sorry, y'all. So it was nice. And then there's 2 extra parts of that story. I didn't tell her though, but because like I said, it was a group call. It was different people asking different questions, so it wasn't just me on there. But growing up, like, I was very much like, I loved me some Jesus. I really did. And I think it was the fact that despite like how the world treated him, Jesus was this super loving. He was a super loving being, you know, no matter what. And I'm just like, you know, no matter how my family treats me, I want to be, you know, I still want to be loved. And I just thought that was just so magnificent of him. And I remember growing up as a child, I remember saying that I had Jesus as an imaginary friend. Y'all, Jesus was my imaginary friend. I remember sitting on the steps, and I try to X out a lot of my memories. So like the ones that do be there, be like, wow. But I remember, you know, sitting on the steps saying that I was talking to Jesus. And truthfully, I just shrugged that off as I got older. Like, I was probably just doing that for attention. Like, I wasn't, and I didn't even tell nobody. I said, you probably was just making that up in your head for attention for yourself. But I also remember, I think it might have been like my 10th birthday. I told my mother, like, I wanted Jesus' birthday cake. And I asked her this too a couple months ago. I was like, you remember I had asked you for a Jesus birthday cake? She started laughing. She said, yeah. And I was like, now, I wanted to know, did I ask you to say happy birthday, Jesus? I don't know what I said. I don't know. She said, I can't remember, but I don't know if I said, say happy birthday, Jesus, or I believe that she put Jesus on the cake. Like, she used to make our cakes and she decorated with Jesus on there. And I don't know if it said happy birthday, Brittany and Jesus. I was crazy. Oh my goodness. So it was super cool, that experience. That, on top of the fact that, what was it? In the video, the lady also goes and she says that, after she, tells me those things and tells me some future things, she says that, oh, and he tells me to tell you, don't worry about the anger. He is like, he said that he got very angry, or he would get angry when he walked the earth too. So don't worry about it. She went on to give me some reassurance about that. And she had asked me, so she's like, well, tell us about the anger, Brittany. What's going on with that? Do y'all know, before I had got on that call, my Instagram had got hacked into, I don't know what happened, but my passwords were changed and I couldn't change them back. I couldn't send the thing to my phone number to get a new code. It just wasn't working. And I had got so upset. I remember thinking, like, I'm not going to make this call. And I had been looking forward to that call. So I'm not going to be on the call. I'm not going to make it. I'm just in such an angry state. I remember my son coming up to say something to me and I'm like, no, not right now. And I just remember yelling at him. And I remember feeling so ashamed after that. Like, he don't know. He don't know what's going on, and look at how you're acting. And I just remember, just looking at myself, being so disgusted with me. And I did eventually end up getting into the Instagram, so I did go on to the call. But I remember, being so, sad and disappointed with myself and just embarrassed by me getting so angry, especially over something so little, But she was like, yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. And, everyone gets angry, because that was a big thing for me growing up. When I would get angry about things, I would get in trouble. My parents would sit there. My family, they dogged me about getting angry or getting upset. But it was me getting upset or getting angry in retaliation for being mistreated, And it wasn't like I would just get a little bit angry. I would get extremely angry. Like I don't have a little bit of love. I have an extreme amount of love. I don't get a little happy. Look, y'all, this is so funny. I feel my emotions and I feel them extremely. I don't feel them a little bit. I remember I get so excited. Even happened to this day, I have to try to control myself. I get so excited I would shake. I remember as a kid, I would go, that's so embarrassing. But I would get so excited. I feel things and I feel them just overwhelmingly. So it's when I did get angry, which I did get angry, I would get just extremely. So my family would just be like, oh my God, look at her. She's just, look, imagine you poking a bear. And then when the bear comes to attack you, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Can you believe this? And that's what it was. But what happened is I began, I would just become shameful about it. Oh my God, I can't believe I reacted like that, And that's why I try not to get upset, because I know that I have a hard time controlling that. But irregardless, when that was mentioned about, don't worry about the anger, and right before that call that had happened, I was like, all right. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And then another little tidbit I want to add is, in the first scenario where I said I was holding the girl's hand at the Bible study, the girl's hand who I was holding was actually my roommate's friend at the time. And me and my roommate were staying in a dorm, and me and her were at odds. I wasn't talking to her. She wasn't talking to me. My friends wasn't talking to her. Her friends wasn't talking to me. It was tension all the time, because I was a clean freak and she was the exact opposite. It is both from our own traumas growing up, and so her side of the room, and we stayed in a hotel. It was an old hotel that got turned into a dorm room, so it was large. So her side of the room, like you couldn't see the floor at all. It was covered in garbage, papers, clothes. I mean, just everything, all on the surfaces, the bed, like everything. And my experience on my side was like everything was like military clean, because I got jumped on, and that's how I grew up. Like everything had to be perfect, you know, everything was in order, like biggest to smallest. This, like, it was like I'm pretty sure if somebody were to see my room, they'd be like, a psychopath lives here. I didn't care. I would be late for class, but my bed needed to be made. Like everything had to be in order. So we were two completely polar opposites. And I had let her know, like, yo, I can't live like this. Like, you gotta do something about this. And we shared a bathroom, and that's a whole nother story. But it was a lot for me to handle. So I was just like, I'm done. Like, don't talk to me until you get it together. So like I said, the girl's hand who I was holding on this end, she was her friend. And I remember when I first went back there and I seen her back there crying, I'm like, did she bring the drama that's going on with me and the roommate in here? I was so upset. So when she started sitting there talking about your hands, there's something coming from your hands, I was relieved, because I'm like, okay, as long as you're not going telling people about that situation and bring that up here. I think that's why I kind of was just like, okay, thanks, you know, and because there's nothing I can do about it, you know, whatever you're saying is going on. But anyways, after that, the room was clean. Like, she came and she had her and my roommate, they cleaned up the room, and it stayed clean from that point on. So I thought that was a cool little tidbit. I wonder if these people are Latino or Asian. Do y'all notice that they have similar makeup sometimes? It's so cute because they'd be so small sometimes. But yeah, look, me being nosy. Yeah, but that's the video that I wanted to make. I appreciate y'all for sticking around this long. I'm gonna go ahead on and upload that. That was an experience for me, and I feel like it definitely has assisted in healing different parts of myself, with being ashamed, with, you know, just my spiritual experiences. I mean, even coming out with this YouTube, coming out with my Instagram and different things like that, showing who I am. These are huge steps. These are things that, you know, are just, because this is all stuff that I just keep to myself. I don't really let people know what's going on with me. So to come out with these spaces is huge, and I'm grateful. I mean, even to talk about this experience, I don't tell people, man. I don't tell people about that. So this is me really opening up to you. So thank you for being here. Right, big man? His little rag coming up off his head. I got his hair cut. Feel like he needs to get cut again. Right, baby? Huh? He not paying me no mind. I want to show y'all this tree over here that got knocked down. Maybe I'll do that for another video. It looks beautiful. But all right, I'll check y'all later.